Okay, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit more about the radio station issues with their counseling, their talk show by a counselor. And that's in Victorson County, Texas, and these are hypothetical fictional kind of story series. Rough drafts, very rough. Okay, some of them. So anyway, to give a little background, now I'm curious if anybody else has ever been in a place where the elders of the county basically run it. That's what it is for this. And they are basically the ones who make the final decision on anything. Now, for some would see that as infantilization, when you're being treated like a child or treated much younger than you are. Somebody is authority over you. But in some instances, like if you work somewhere, think about it, somebody is in charge of what you do and your time while you're there, you're working for them. And but this is a whole county. Now, they all grew up with it. It started off with the settlers of that area, that county, that became a county. And so it's just the norm to them. This is how it works for them. But anyway, in this part of it, now the elders that are the ones that run, basically they're the ones that watch out for. I don't know how to term it yet, but they're, I wouldn't say in control of, but they are the ones that monitor the funding for the radio station and how it's all working. They just started doing this. And one of the things they did is they did not like the way that Sherri is her name, she's a counselor, how her talk show program was going. Because they had a lot of calls coming in, that some of the callers just seemed like they were from the bad part, the bad town in the county, and they were just doing it to kind of cause troubles. And that Sherri, she has rather histrionic behaviors herself, and she just wasn't catching on quick enough. Now, two of the elders were a married couple. They had been counselors for many years before they retired or semi-retired, and they didn't like it. So they say that the radio station, all the programming for the radio station was to be fact-based. It needed to be fact or fact-based, not fiction. And none of these like conspiracies or anything. They were just news. They were just facts. They were just, the programs were based, like I said, on facts. And they didn't see that. They saw that some of the callers were trying to screw it all up. And so they decided, that's when they had just been moved to there. And that's another story unto itself. But they stay in a ranch there called the ABC Ranch, and they became the ABC Elders. And they and others. And they with the married couple that had been counselors, they decided the whole ABC Elders were going to take over, the operations, I guess, of the radio station. Okay, now that's kind of like past. I've already written it. Now, I mentioned the counselor Sherri. Her behaviors are rather histrionic. Now, when the callers call in, she just goes with their flow. She's kind of easily influenced. And if they make themselves sound knowledgeable, but sometimes if they're like doubting her, what she's saying, she gets very angry, and when they go against what she says. And whoever, the callers that call in. And she's very angry. And she just goes off. And lets them all know how she is superior. Yeah. So that's how her reactions are. Okay. Now, because of the way that they were behaving, that she was about Sherri, about just going with their flow, these elders, mainly the married couple I mentioned, they proposed that things are going to change with this. There won't be those kinds of callers, or they they would be very screened before. Maybe they were going to do something like have them, the people who wanted to be callers would know what the topic is going to be about, and they would request, and then somebody would interview them, okay, over the phone, and see, how legit they are and everything like that. They were going to change it up in many ways, and one of the ways they were going to do is they also wanted some of the people who were in the county, other people besides counselors and therapists, they were not fans at all of these life enrichment people. They did not like them. They wanted the people to be educated and in like psychology, sociology, these kinds of fields, the helping fields, and social workers. But they weren't going to concentrate on the social workers either. But one of the things they wanted to do was to find authors, people who actually wrote stories, and or say sociologists, not social workers, but sociologists. And that's what they decided to do, that they were going to be the ones who would write stories like the old-fashioned kind of, I think some may still do it, where you listen. Instead of watching TV or something, you tune in to your radio station, and this radio station is just for Victorson County. And they tune in, they listen to stories, it could be mysteries, dramas, whatever, something like that. And they would have them, these writers, authors, they would pay them to write stories for, it didn't start off that way, but eventually that would be the way to start off, to have one of those kind of shows. And whatever they wrote, the different counselors and therapists, and they only had one psychiatrist, would run a radio show, not just Sherri, and they would comment about what this is and what kind of behaviors it is and what to look for, and it's basically educating the county on various types of mental issues, I suppose, psychological issues people can have. But they did this on purpose, especially because of what was going on in what started early, here in Texas, early in 2020. Okay, in various places, that people became more aware of it. I'm avoiding using the words, and so they wanted people to be more aware of these things, not to diagnose anybody. Diagnoses are for the professionals to do, not just anybody, but to be aware of behaviors, not to tell the person you have this disorder, you see what I'm saying? But just to be aware of, to watch out for kind of thing, and just be leery of, not go to an extreme, don't diagnose, you see. Anyway, she chose one writer, they did, not she, but this married couple, and they, also the other elders there, they, looked at their background and they discussed it. And one of them is a writer. She's a well-known writer, author of. She basically focused on relationships, couples. Okay, and so they got her. And then another one is a sociologist. That woman's name is Dawn, and Poppy, she's a sociologist. And then they were looking into more. But right where it is right now, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm just mentioning those two. This is more like an intro to it. So anyway, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize that the AC was. I had put it on the defroster. Defog part to cool down the back of my camera, and I forgot to turn it off. Oh well, to switch it back to front instead of there. So sorry about all that noise, but anyway, like I said, this is just more of like of an intro. So if you want to subscribe to this channel, to hear more, subscribe to this channel if you got this far. And there are going to be a lot of stories. Okay, I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.